over the last year or so, we've had some amazing doctors in the kitchen showing us what they cook at home to be healthy. But today I have something extra special for you. What I would say, it is the Mount Everest of cooking challenges. Imagine that you are an Italian chef that for many years, several decades, you've run cooking schools, you've run your own restaurants, you're famous, you've been awarded things by the Italian government. To find out then you've got diabetes and you need to cut out that lovely pasta and all those carbohydrates, what do you do about it? But the very man himself I didn't meet first. I met his wife first, Katie. And I met Katie at Real Rude Food Rocks, where I was doing a little cooking class in front of an audience. Katie came on afterwards and I was blown away at her ability in the kitchen. She then gave me this incredible book and I took it home. This is 3 or 4 months ago and I've cooked nearly every single recipe in here. It is a life-changing book. I'd like to introduce you to a husband and wife team, the Caldesis, who are absolutely phenomenal, and they're going to change the way you think about eating carbohydrates. Giancarlo, how are you? Katie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Wow, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to, for once, just sit and say nothing and just let you get on with it and tell everybody your story. And you know, as we've talked about before, my dad's diabetic type 2.
Okay.
I'm struggling to make him change his ways. So hopefully you're going to help me give my dad some extra years at the back end and everybody else as well. And what are we going to make in the kitchen today? What are we going to concentrate on?
Right, we're going to make pizza, but not as you know it.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do.
Brilliant.
The interesting thing about this pizza is when you used to have pizza, you know what you're talking about. I remember many years ago, before I was diagnosed, or before I knew that I was diabetic, we went to Rome, okay, we were writing the Rome book. So we sat next to a table and 3 pizzas came out. And at that time, I knew that I couldn't eat pizza, but just at that time, I couldn't eat any more carbs or pizza. And the pizza came out, and the smell of the pizza was so intense that I had to get up from the table. Do you remember? I had to get up from the table, go for a little walk, and come back. And I was really, honestly, it's so interesting, is all a mindset. My brain was scrambled. It's like seeing a beautiful blonde, you know, but don't tell the wife. But, you know, seriously. And I mean, really, it was totally scrambled. And I had to get up. I thought in my entire life I never would do certain things like it's happened since then that you don't think. But seriously, do you like to save your life or do you like to be dead first?
Yeah.
And the survival, primal survival is the key of our lives. So I decided, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to change.
And prior to you finding you were diabetic, you were on so many BBC programmes. You had the one where they followed you both in Italy, you were on MasterChef, you've been on
Sunday Brunch, all the rest there.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on virtually every cooking programme in the UK, teaching people how to cook the pastas.
Yeah,
and
but you know, the thing is this, is forget about the TV programme, but when you go 2-3 restaurants that we had at one stage, now we got 2 before we had 3. One disappears the building, they had to put the building down. But what's happening is you go in and you say to the chef, right, what's this? Right, what's this? And you're grazing all the time and say, not too much salt, this is not good. So you basically, what you do, essentially, you drive in your kitchen to the food that you want to see and the flavors that you have in your head, you know, the things that you want to recreate from Tuscany. And you as well, do you remember we used to go to Tuscany to find out how the food was and come back, this is not quite the same. So
we always wanted to create authentic Italian food. No, absolutely.
Yeah, no.
So it's not quite an authentic Italian pizza, but it's just as good.
Yeah.
Well, your book is absolutely brilliant and so imaginative, Katie, that I can't wait for you to share some lessons with us.
Okay.
And for many people, I would think that the thought of having a pizza without carbohydrates is almost impossible. I'm going to ask you one question, Kate, to start off with. In my book, I did a pizza with a cauliflower as a base, but you're using courgette as a base. What's your thinking there?
I tried cauliflower bases and they work fine, they're easy to put together, I understand that, but I always thought the flavour of the cauliflower dominated the flavour of the toppings.
Right.
And I want to really taste the beautiful salami, the vegetables that we're going to put on top, that even the tomatoes that we're going to use, and the oregano. That is the essence of pizza to me, is the combination of basil, tomatoes and oregano. And I think with cauliflower, it's just overwhelming.
That's a very good point.
So I made a subtle cheesy base with some parmesan and using courgette instead.
So using parmesan, you got the umami flavor that comes back, and so you're blending the flavor together. That's exactly what I was saying, and that's why you've been absolutely masterful and really totally created some things that is not just chuck this in, chuck that, chuck berry, all the stuff you want to do, but is something behind it really makes sense. You know what something blend?
Sure.
You eat something and you say, hold on a minute, there's something serious, there's something that really, also your taste buds, your brain, you register those flavors.
Yes.
And by registering those flavors, so you're satisfied, because I believe that eating is also flavor recording and the smell. It helps for you to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I have to say, in this book and the next book that will come out, Katie definitely, she's been absolutely masterful. To be perfectly honest, I didn't put too much effort on that, but I don't think I could have. No, I really.
It's very honest of you.
No, but it's true.
You're going to grate this courgette then?
Yeah, but because I was working in a restaurant, so we divided forces. But I don't think I could really think of many things that Katie has. So
before you start, can I just, because what a lot of people do with these programs is they get all the ingredients, they press pause, they go and fetch the ingredients from the shop, and then play and cook along with you, which we always recommend. Can we quickly go through then what exactly they need to make the courgette pizza?
Okay.
well, first of all, you need a courgette. Only one, not two, and
Like a Viking.
no eyebrows or anything like that. But a medium courgette will do, and then I pass on to Katie.
And then I've got some ground almonds, eggs, 2 eggs, 150 grams of ground almonds. I've got some Parmesan cheese here, or it could be grana padano.
25 grams.
Yes, sorry, 25 grams of cheese, that's right. Some salt for flavouring, and then we've got the toppings. So the toppings are going to be tinned tomatoes, olive oil, some oregano, like I said before, a bit of salt, maybe some pepper, and then we're going to make the various little layered toppings on top. We've got spring onions,
Mozzarella, obviously.
mozzarella, we've got red pepper, salami, we've got some anchovies over there. So
Great.
toppings that you like.
Okay.
But the topping can be done anything you like. So I'll start with my courgettes. I'll just cut this one off and the top, and then I start grating it while Katie should mix the rest.
So I've got my 150 grams of ground almonds here.
The other thing you can do with the courgettes, if you want to take the skin off, so you don't get the green bits, so it becomes just white. So
if you've got fussy children who don't like to eat courgette, or fussy grown-ups who also don't like to eat courgette.
now the children are okay, it's the grown-up that's the problem.
If you peel the courgettes, then you can't tell that there's courgette in the base.
Okay.
It just looks white.
Yeah.
We like to leave this on because I think the more fibre is in the skin, and it's good for you, and why peel something and waste it if you don't have to. But of course, if you're trying to fool someone into thinking that there's no courgette in it,
Sorry,
peel them.
is it fool someone? This woman, she's dangerous, man.
I mean, the key thing here is that what people don't realise is that a lot of the skins are where all the phytonutrients are, because that was the defence mechanism of the vegetable against the environment. So it's like when you have an onion, it's the outer layers that you really want to get into the cooking for all that goodness.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's very easy this, because you see Katie, she's just mixing all that.
So I've just got the 2 eggs, and I'm going to mix them with the ground almonds and some salt.
So far, certainly 100% primal.
Yes, yeah, it is. And one of the things I've been doing on our cookery courses recently is to try and get people to imagine what they're eating. So if you take something out of a box and you're eating, I don't know, say some sort of pie or something rather, then try to visualise what were those ingredients before it was made, before it got baked, before it got put into a box? Do you know what you're eating? And sometimes if you imagine then you're eating a pile of white flour and you're eating preservatives, and you imagine visualizing all these things on a plate, where little pools of chemicals that you're eating, or as I say, preservatives, E numbers. Why would you want to do that? Where, you know, this way you can imagine what you're eating, you know what you're eating. It would be a pile of almonds before they got ground, and 2 eggs and a bit of salt and a courgette. It's just simple.
But it's also like Giancarlo said earlier on, that, you know, unless it tastes great, then we can't change the way people eat. But I love the fact that we've got a real top chef that goes, I've got to make it taste great because I've got to serve this to my customers. They've got to come back to my restaurant time and time again. So this is why this is so exciting. You know, you're absolutely right. Every time, and it happened a couple of months ago, we were flying back to the UK. My children were hungry. And what do they bring down the aisle on the aeroplane but a pot noodle? And I had to have this massive debate with my children about, I'm so sorry, you're going to have to stay hungry then till we get home, because you're not having something full of chemicals, and you just don't know normally what you're eating, whereas here, everything you've put in so far is so healthy.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
The other thing is totally correct. If the food doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter what it is, you're not going to eat it at the end. You will not. You will not continue that kind of food.
You might have it once, but you'll never do it again.
No, and the other thing that's really, we found it with the cookery school and everything, what's really interesting is the fact that we are inspirational. And I can tell you, because I've got a lot of messages back and everything, and that's what how can you be inspirational? The fact is when you really mean it. There is no fuzzy-duzzy, okay? Now, unfortunately, I say something, I mean it. When I get annoyed, I get annoyed. I really do. So it's so important that people realize that what you do is really something worthwhile doing. That's the difference.
And what worthwhile doing is saving your life. And we haven't yet really talked about what happened to yourself with your diabetes. And I remember reading that at one point you couldn't tie your laces up because your feet were swelling up. And just talk us through.
Essentially, I was 17.5 stone now and 13.6. It took me, let's say, 16 months to lose 3 stone, and then I level out, and then I've been like that for the last 6 years now. It's just simply that I didn't know I was diabetic, number one. Number two, had all the symptoms, going to the loo a lot, and I couldn't really do my shoelaces, really. And the funny thing is, I couldn't even stand on one leg if I couldn't do that. You know, I really couldn't do that. You know, really, no way that I could go and say, oh. And then all the other things, when I get up from the chair, I used to go like this and get up, you know, because all the symptoms, and also my vision, then my eyes was hurting a lot, and also my brain quite fuzzy, and then was a bit grumpy really, and a bit losing my temper too much.
Well, I heard that because Katie, I remember reading Katie saying you went from this fun-loving, as you are today, outgoing, charismatic, to being very insular and
unfortunately sleepy. He was always asleep on the sofa. You know, he'd either be working hard or coming back and just falling asleep. And you know, with 2 young children, we just hardly ever saw him. And we didn't really realise how sick he was. And it came on so gradually, like diabetes type 2 does. You don't really know, and you just think that's your normal, but actually it doesn't need to be.
Is it truly a silent killer? I said in many occasions, I would like people to understand that diabetes is, you're like the shard on the outside, but actually inside is like the Grenfell Tower. And if you remember, this is some smokes, white smokes and dark, and that's why you're inside, because your body is burnt in many places. I wish we could have a camera, and we could find where the cancer is. Another thing is, because I think food got me into trouble, and food got me out of trouble, because I never took any metformin, no medicine ever. So
food was part of the problem, but now food is the solution.
It's the cure, yes.
I mean, seriously, I feel so wide awake in the brain. Unfortunately, I'm old, but the brain is still young.
You're not old. I keep telling you this. You are older. You're not old.
Okay.
You're older. You're not old.
Yeah, but I'm Italian, so it's between
Anyway, back to the food. Let's
Right.
carry on. This is great.
So now we should be using a pastry brush to spread the baking parchment with olive oil. But I used to be a painter, and so I looked around for a pastry brush and I thought, what looks like a brush? And I found this spring onion with its roots, all clean and washed. So we're going to use this to spread the olive oil.
Daddy, you're not painting the wall, you're doing.
That's how Giancarlo and I met, actually.
Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but he is a restaurateur, and he had a restaurant in the city of London, and he commissioned me to paint a mural.
Oh, wow.
And she painted so well that
That was the most expensive painting you ever bought.
That's what he always says, yes.
I'll tell you a secret later. Okay, so
So you've just used a spring onion as a brush. I love it.
Why not?
Next time I come to brush my teeth and I can't find a toothbrush, I'm going to go into the kitchen and get the spring onion.
I told you she's a bit dangerous. I told you to be careful.
So just
like to
quickly
think-
recap then what exactly has gone into the base. So we had the courgettes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the base of the pizza is courgettes, actually it's almond flour, eggs, courgettes, also parmesan,
Yes, and salt.
And salt. That is
That's
it, really.
Have you had your half?
Yes.
So it makes two, so
Okay.
I've divided it roughly in half in the bowl.
And now I'm leveling out.
And you can go oval on this, so it doesn't have to make a round pizza. It can make a round one if you want, or it can be oval, or you can make a square and then cut it into little squares afterwards. You can make mini ones for parties, like little canapes, little pizzette.
Yes, that is absolutely phenomenal. So you can do whatever you like, and also the base. Make sure that it's not too thick. Thick
Thin
enough,
crust
but
pizza.
yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing of this is, what I like about this is when later you put all the toppings on it, it's so ridiculously nice, and when you bite through, I mean, you think, you quite think it's a proper pizza, you know, and that is quite a revolution. Now, you may be wondering why I use. That's about it. This is usually about 12 centimeters. Was it 20 centimeters?
About 20.
20 centimeters on diameter would be enough. Okay. So while I'm doing one shape, Katie's doing another.
I'll do a square.
And quickly tell us a bit about your cookery school in London, because I'm sure there are many people watching that would love to come and have, they're going to learn from this lesson right now on how to make a pizza. But if they want to learn more low carb meals, let's have a little shameless plug for your cooking school.
So our cookery school is called La Cucina Caldesi, and it's all on our website, caldesi.com. And you can come and learn any aspect of Italian cookery, and also some low carb courses as well. So we've started teaching them in London, also in Gerrard's Cross, and also at our restaurant in Bray.
Oh, fantastic.
So you've got 3 opportunities to come and learn either Italian food or low carb food.
Also in Bray, I do some morning, which I talk about diabetes and low carb. Okay. So far it's been very successful, so we need more people to come.
And there's
are
really
a limited number,
interested.
actually. Look in their website, www.caldesi.com, and if you look and then you book online. There's a limited number all the time. I don't do masses. I only do about 20 places or 24 maximum, so they can have a proper lunch, obviously low carb, and then we talk about diabetes and sort of inspirational talk, which has gone down very well.
Fantastic. How did you first make that link to carbohydrates and diabetes? Because I remember when my dad came back having been diagnosed, nobody even mentioned the word carbohydrates.
No, they don't.
Well, they don't. But also in my case, I was suffering terribly for arthritis, psoriasis, also psoriasis.
Inflammation of your fingers and.
So when we tried one day, just as because we were writing.
I had
a book.
IBS.
Yeah.
So I read the book Wheat Belly, which is a great book.
Great book.
Yeah, and that inspired me to think, well, maybe my IBS is caused through wheat, so I'm going to try giving it up.
Oh,
so
yes.
Giancarlo, being the open-minded man that he is, said, well, I might feel a bit better, I'll try it too. So we both gave up bread.
Unbelievable. That was a revelation.
Well, not just bread, but bread and all wheat flour, all gluten.
Sugar we gave
Well,
up.
sugar we were cutting down on anyway,
Yeah.
but we just decided to give up everything that had gluten in it.
That for an Italian chef is...
I know. So
That's why I call it the
honestly,
Mount
yeah.
Everest of challenges.
No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. It's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
and you will not believe, within 3 days, I was feeling totally different. I said,
Yeah.
this is fantastic.
And I felt no different at all because I'm not gluten intolerant. But so I said, oh, it's not working, is it? Nothing's happened. He went, well, I don't know. I feel much better.
Yeah.
And the inflammation on his knuckles went down within 3 days and he lost his wedding ring. So he says.
No kidding. No. Yeah, well,
No, it fell off.
tried to get off
Fell
from, with someone else, but it didn't work.
I don't believe it.
No, but the fact is, you see, when my arthritis, if I would try to do this, no way. If you shake my hand as hard as you possibly can, I would have been in tears. I swear,
Really?
honestly,
Wow.
no. So you see, look, can
Yeah.
you see that the
It's all
strength
come
you
back.
got?
Yeah.
So it was amazing. So when you see those things, it's very important. I always say to people, when you have a disability or some kind, you need to check your bodily function all the time. If by standing like this, that was hurting you before, so I can't do it, suddenly you go like that and it hurts less, that means you're on the way to recovery. Then one day you go like that, it's okay, no problem, nobody's mind. So you need to check yourself. It doesn't matter if it's batting an eyelid, it doesn't matter if you always move your forefinger and the little finger never moves, suddenly it twitches. That's a change. So pursue that. Because I posed myself for 50 odd years or 60. Do I think I'm going to be better in 3 days? But you see those changes, they have to be encouraging for you to pursue something that is going to be good for your life after.
Sure.
I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the pizza, I'm going to put the pizza at the top of the oven, and what I've done here, what we do at home, we put the tray upside down.
Okay.
By putting the tray upside down, I get hit at the bottom, hit at the top, and then look, we slide the pizza like this. Can you see how simple it is?
Yeah.
I'm a genius.
Well, look, that is brilliant. 'Cause I've never seen anybody do that before, and I'm always struggling trying to get it in and out of the pan.
Now we must
And
leave,
so my
leave
one
space for the
is the
woman, because
easy way of doing it. So I'm just going to stick it on the tray,
She's
on the
easy.
paper, on the oiled paper with the spring onion. Very important. And then
can see it
into
bubbling
there.
away already.
You see it bubbling, yeah.
It's bubbling away already.
Yeah. So you want a nice hot oven, so
Fantastic.
that's at 200.
Yeah.
And then fan
Usually,
would be 180.
Yeah. But I need to keep on at the top because, as you can see, that will cook faster.
Yeah, because it's not fanned.
So I need to really
and we'll
honestly-
have
You've
to
got a head
switch them
start,
round.
basically.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
while we got that going,
And
we're
you
gonna
cook the base first. You don't put
Yes.
everything on the
No,
top.
No.
Otherwise,
It will go soggy, and you don't,
Right.
we don't want a soggy
no.
bottom.
I came in my pizza boat at the Docklands, but it got very soggy, so it sunk, and I stayed here for 44 years. So that was my pizza base. Right.
So we're going
What
to
are we
make the
doing?
topping.
Okay.
We actually only need half a tin of tomatoes is plenty for 2, but we'll do it with 4. We'll do it as if it's enough for 4 pizzas.
And
So
you always
here,
use cans of tomato?
Italian branded,
Yeah.
Italian plum tomatoes is really important. And if you get the chopped variety, then often they're very watery inside because you get all the broken tomatoes and all too much juice.
Right.
So we always buy whole Italian
They
tomatoes.
don't break down very well, the chopped tomato.
and then break it down
yeah,
yourself.
and then we
No,
break
they
it down
don't- yeah,
ourselves.
that's
Yes,
great advice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put some salt in here, and you want it to taste good. So probably just under a teaspoon of salt in there. And then I'm going to
And
put.
before anybody goes, oh, you can't use salt on cooking, that's what I used to think. You know, for years I
Yeah.
cooked without salt. But when you
Yeah.
start eating Primal and you get rid of all that packaged food,
Yeah.
you probably find, if anything, you're having not enough salt in your diet.
Yes,
And
yeah.
salt is so, so important.
Yeah, but what we have discovered that carry on.
A heaped, thank you, I was about to. We'll try not to have a domestic.
Be careful why he's got a knife in his hand, Katie.
So a heaped teaspoon of oregano. This is this essential flavour. If you don't have oregano, it's never going to taste like a pizza.
Okay, great, thank you.
Very important. Try the dry one, okay?
Yep.
The dry is fine.
And
Don't
a
think
little bit
the
of
fresh
olive
one.
oil in there as well.
So dry or fresh, but or is dry better?
Italians always use dried oregano. They pick it fresh and then they dry it and then you crumble it. But most herbs are used fresh in Italian cookery, but oregano is one of the exceptions.
It's just the tray expanding, it's fine.
Yeah, oregano is one of the exceptions that they never use fresh.
Oh, that's great.
So it's the dried one that's going to taste like pizza. So then I'm going to, you could do this with a fork or a potato masher, but I've got a stick blender, so I'm just going to blend that so it's smooth. But it's not a cooked pizza sauce. The pizzaioli who are the pizza makers of Naples and Rome, etc., they hardly ever use a cooked tomato sauce. It's always raw tomatoes.
Because it becomes like a paste. It's like
And if you imagine a pizza oven is really hot, it's usually around 400 degrees. And so that's what quickly cooks the sauce. So you don't need to pre-cook it. You put it on raw and it cooks in the oven.
Brilliant. Great.
When you do these kind of dishes, seriously, you don't have to complain about other things, because quite frankly, you see, look, I'm preparing all the toppings. You go 2 types of mozzarella here. One is a log one, which is it's got less water in it. And this one's a proper buffalo mozzarella, as you can see. And what you should do really, you should cut it in half and leave it on a colander so the water goes away. Simply because when you put it on a pizza, it doesn't waterlog the pizza.
Yes.
Very important.
So you want to let it just dry out a little.
Absolutely. And look, this is really beautiful. Look at that.
Wow.
Will there be any left for the topping by the time you've sampled the salami, you've sampled the cheese?
But that just backs up what you were saying, Giancarlo, earlier on, that the problem was you were running your restaurants and you just try a bit of this, try a bit of that.
Yeah.
And if it, even without any bad intentions, you're eating bread all day.
Yeah.
Just without realizing
it's incredible, honestly. But the problem is being in a kitchen, working in a kitchen as a chef or whatever you want to call it.
Just going to switch them around.
Is really a big problem, because if you don't taste the food, then you never know what everything is. So you really got a problem, because to run a proper restaurant, it is quite difficult. And we are very proud to say that our restaurant in Bray is being voted the top 100 restaurant in Great Britain or UK.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so it was 2 weeks ago. And that doesn't come without effort, and you have to put a kind of effort of amazing food, taste, quality. It's all the things that really matters.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, we do a lot of low-carb dishes, and they seem to be quite popular.
What we do is give people a choice. So we still make beautiful focaccia, which I really like eating, fresh focaccia, but I only have a little bit every now and again. I also still have pasta, but I probably have pasta twice a month, something like that. So we make fresh pasta, we make fresh bread, we serve all the traditional Italian foods, but alongside that we have a low-carb menu. And we sell our lovely traditional ragu, but you can have it on steamed buttered cabbage ribbons, or you can have it on roasted vegetables, things like that. So that's what Giancarlo will have, so that he's cutting down on the carbohydrate and he's gluten intolerant. So.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been a real shock when you found out you were gluten intolerant.
That came after finding out he had diabetes type 2, so we cut back on sugar. And then we did this test and he reacted so well to not having gluten in his diet. Then we went off to see a nutritionist, Jenny Phillips, and she ran tests with him, and it showed that he is highly gluten intolerant.
In fact,
so
talking to
celiac, really.
Jenny Phillips, she actually worked with you on the book.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant book.
We met
it on
through
sale
that.
at £17 at Primal Living. And what I love about this, you've got sort of your imagination throughout the book, Katie, and some of the recipes are absolutely incredible. And then you've got the twist of the Italian master chef. This book is for many, many people, and my dad's not yet read it, but Dad, please, please, please give it a go. My dad loves his pasta, loves his pizzas, but Dad, if an Italian chef can give up the carbs, so can you too. And I mean, you look fantastic, mate. When I saw the photos of you before you start to lose your weight. I mean, you look 10 years younger today. Not only
Thank
are
you.
you nice and slender, but
I'm
you
still
look
old.
older. Still older. But you look younger as well, and energetic. And
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm quite serious, actually. If here, look, can you see the shape?
Yeah.
This is when I was playing football in 1979 for Romford. That's the shape I had. You know, that goes in, and you feel, obviously, I'm different, but honestly, I'm absolutely. At that time, I was 13 stone. I was 6 pounds lighter, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I'm the best shape I've ever been in my entire life. But also, what's interesting is the mentally. It's not foggy.
Yeah.
It's not foggy. It really isn't. It's so clear.
Well, people don't realise, and I wrote in the book that a lot of people are calling Alzheimer's. So I've got a father who's diabetic. I've got a mother who's got Alzheimer's, and you just think about what they've been eating their entire life. So much so now that many people are saying that actually Alzheimer's is actually diabetes type 3.
That's right.
So
Yes,
that fogginess can be
but
related to.
Also, diabetes was called sugar diabetes.
Yeah.
And at the Roman time, because we're very much sort of like Romans things. We do Roman themes at the restaurant. At Roman time, actually, when people used to go and do a pee, the other guy said, "Oh, it's got diabetes because it smells sweet." So
and flies were attracted to the wee of a diabetic, and they weren't attracted to the wee of a non-diabetic person. So that's how they discovered some people were having more sugar in their urine than others. Interesting.
So, Katie, tell me a bit about the inspiration and I keep using that word, imagination in all of your cooking.
Must be turned round. Sorry, we'll just have a little argument about this.
You were an artist before you met, and I guess art transcends from art on canvas to art in the kitchen. But your love, and obviously this book is absolutely brilliant. Did your real fascination for food come when you decided to try and help Giancarlo out, or?
No, I've always loved food, and I probably should have been a chef, really, but I took I took another option, and
Sorry.
trained to be an artist, and I did that for 10 years, and that's when I met Giancarlo, and then I started
Were you
working
lucky
in.
then?
Yes,
Really? Who was
I
lucky?
started working in the kitchens of our restaurants in London. And so I'd be painting during the day, come back home, scrub all the paint off here, go down in the kitchen. I used to be on the veg section.
Okay.
And worked in the kitchen in the evenings. And then eventually I said to Giancarlo, I'm not going to go out painting anymore. I just love the restaurant life. I love the life around food. And so about 20 years ago, I gave up painting and went into working in the restaurants full time, brought up the children. And then we had our programme Return to Tuscany on television. And I wrote a cookbook to go with that. Oh, the first one was actually about his mother's recipes.
No, the first one wasn't nothing to do with anything.
The television.
Yeah, it was
his mother's recipes. Yeah.
I remember going home to where we used to live in Baker Street, and within 20 minutes I wrote down all the sort of recipe they used to eat, like wild boar, roast hedgehog, and.
We didn't put that in the book.
and we used to. That's true, actually.
And Return to Tuscany, that was a BBC programme, was it?
Yes, it was, yes, yeah. And that was my second book, and now I've just finished our 13th book.
13th book?
Yes.
So this is number 12,
That's number 12.
So tell us about number 13 that's coming out soon.
It's a follow-up. It's available to pre-order on Amazon. It's called Reverse Your Diabetes Type 2.
Okay.
And it's to do with weight loss as well, and so it's all very low-carb recipes. Not no carb, but low carb.
Yeah, and this is the key thing, is it living primally, reversing diabetes. We have to have some carbs, especially, but ideally we want them through the greens.
Yes.
We don't want them really.
I don't think people realise that vegetables are carbs. A courgette is a carbohydrate. This is a carbohydrate, but it has protein in it as well. I don't think people know all the sort of food groups, and that sometimes it's not clear. A food can belong to 2 food groups.
Sure.
But you want to keep your carbs low. And in the book we've developed something called a carb scale, so that we can say that Giancarlo is at one end of the carb scale, and we try to keep his carbs under 50 grams a day.
Sure.
And then a very good friend of ours who is a personal trainer and very fit, Natalia, is at the other end of the carb scale, and she can have up to about 130 grams of carbs a day. She's very active, she's young, she's very lean, and she metabolizes carbs well. Mm-hmm. So we're saying that it's not a one-size-fits-all. you have to decide where you are on the carb scale and then stick to around that. So that's why I go and have my pasta every now and again. I go to the gym a lot. I like to keep fit. And
but we're all different, aren't we?
so we're all different.
You know,
and
if
we
I
have to recognise that.
if I
I'm sure they're
smell bread, I
ready
put
now.
on a pound. It
Yeah.
sounds wildly stupid to say things like that, but I can't have any carbs any longer. I think I've
Really?
damaged my metabolism so much over the years that if I have a slice of bread, I put the weight on.
Yeah,
So
well, I think
we're
I
all
do as
different.
well, but I just can't resist it. And every now and again, I want something like bread or pasta. I can't quite bear to turn my back on it completely. But then I'm not a sugar addict. I can afford to do that.
And you mentioned IBS earlier on. Is your
Yeah.
IBS gone now, Katie?
Yes,
Wow.
it has. Yeah, so
And
I feel so much better. So
And what would
it's
you
not.
what would you
I've
say
lost a
was the main
stone
cause
and I've
of-
kept a stone off, and that was always bothering me, this stone. So I'm much happier now.
And if you
and the
had to
IBS
say
has
one
cleared
thing
up.
caused the IBS, any idea what it was with yourself? Or
I never used to have that much sugar, but I think probably the carbohydrate.
Yeah.
And now I'm just having so many more vegetables. I'm eating so much more fibre, and I think that that's what's really helped
Right.
me.
Yeah.
So
There's always a problem with your gut, isn't it? If everything is interesting because people say what you eat is what you are. They say, but they don't mean it. So that's you're wasting your time. You know, you're talking to the wind. You do, but if you think about it, it's true.
I totally agree. I agree. You are what you eat, and when you eat meat, you are what you eat eats.
yes,
So that's why you need to go organic with meat, because if it's a meat that's being
Grass-fed,
force-fed corn, if it's a meat that's had antibiotics, it can't be as healthy. Anyway, I need to shut up because you're getting to the important stages here.
So we're going to put the tomato sauce on top of the pizza. Let me
I
pass
was having
it
that
to you.
before. You just nicked it from me.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Don't do that, please. Oh God! Don't work with children or your wife, okay?
I thought it was animals, but there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And talking of working with children, one of your sons works with you in the restaurant, or is it the cook school?
Both of them really, in part-time, but Giorgio, which the oldest one, helps us a little bit more, so is always present in the restaurant, which is really, he's a very good boy actually, so it's really nice. So here I've got...
And sorry to interrupt, let me just say something. So we talked earlier on, and the reason I wrote my book was I felt cheated because for many, many years, bringing my children up, I thought I was doing the right thing, giving them orange juice in the morning and healthy cereals, so I thought. And I felt cheated. I became obese like yourself. Luckily, I avoided the diabetes. But I guess your children now, with your new knowledge, have got much better start to life than we had, because at least they know the truth about food
Yeah.
now.
Well, that is true, because what's happened is they look leaner, they're much better shape.
And we've never forced them to go low carb. They've sort of taken it on by osmosis, really. They've just seen the results with Giancarlo, the results with me, that we feel good. And so they've just kind of gone low carb and are feeling better for it. And they find that at school it's quite difficult because there's limited choices.
Terrible.
That is the problem when you send them off. And
Yeah.
Right, I put my tomato on top. Now I've got my mozzarella. Okay.
nobody says the word mozzarella like an Italian.
I know, I can't say it like an Italian. I
Go
wish
on,
I
give
could.
it me one more time.
Now I use my mozzarella. and then after ho finito con la mozzarella, cosa facciamo? Mettiamo le alici.
Is this for me?
Yes, darling,
Thanks
because
very
mine
much.
is better than yours.
It is. That type of mozzarella is less watery, isn't it?
Yeah, but so your pizza will be logged pizza. And
Now, Katie, you've sort of divided yours like
Yes,
a
I thought
giant
that was going to be
chessboard.
quite nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell she's an artist. Me, I'm a complete peasant. I just want my pizza. Forget about designing, brushing the pizza. You're having a joke. This is anchovies here, because
I
anchovies are so
love
delicious.
anchovies.
And this is going to be my pizza. Yours, you can go and buy from across the road, please. Thank you.
can't buy a good pizza anywhere, not like this.
Ha. Now, the olives are usually, I cut them in half because they're much better if you do that. Is to put the whole olive.
And could you go green olives as well, or do you just prefer
Yes,
the
yeah,
Yeah,
Whatever you
no,
like.
no. We just bought those because we thought was a good idea.
They also taste nice, and I do think that's important. When you get the sort of cheaper black olives that are dyed,
Yeah.
and they have the...
Dyed? Oh, I didn't know this. They dye black olives
apparently,
sometimes.
apparently that some olives are dyed.
So spend a little bit more, get the real thing.
Yeah.
As you can see, my pizza is full of goodies. I've got my pizza with you want some anchovies, darling?
Yes, please, yeah. And there are arguments between the pizza makers that some of them put basil on before it goes in the oven, and other people say, no, it's better to have the basil on afterwards. Before gives the flavour of basil,
Yeah.
but the basil goes black. And if you put a basil on afterwards, it stays like it vibrant and green.
Yeah,
And it
also,
smells
these
lovely.
also gives you the flavour all the same. I don't like burnt things, so they don't do that. And
We don't want anything.
so basically
carcinogenic
what I've
really,
got in
so-
my pizza, my toppings are very simple. Anchovies one side, as you can see I did
Yep.
mix it with the salami. So basically got two pizza in one.
Yeah.
The flavour changes. So instead of mixing all together, because this is quite salty, this is quite salty, you mix it together, it doesn't go at all really.
Okay.
So when you eat it, you eat this half first and then you eat the other half.
Great idea.
It's very important because
Yeah.
otherwise you get all that, oh, what's this? And then people say, oh, I don't like it, which is really, it's not the right idea really.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you can't you, when you're cooking, you can put too many flavours in,
Yes.
competing for the attention of the
Yeah.
taste buds.
No,
Yeah.
And then-
it's wrong. It's
yeah.
wrong. I always believe that a clean flavor. You know, you do something of a clean flavor. I eat that and I eat that, and then obviously, if you cook in a different way, that you want to put so many flavors, then totally becomes a mishmash of things, and it's not really what you want to do. Now here, I put this back into my tray, which is still in the oven, and you can see. Look, see how I sliding it.
Yeah.
Look, I was sliding like this. Now it's yeah. There you go. That goes in.
And the paper you've used, is there anything specific
no,
about
it's
that? Or?
the normal baking paper that you use.
And I'm going to put mine back on the tray. I could have just left it on the tray, actually.
Yeah, but you're not that
But I
great.
didn't think
are
of
you?
that.
But she's an artist.
Yeah, but
But
she
hey,
has
it
to-
looks pretty,
She
doesn't
knows
it?
with that magic camera in the sky shining down that it
God.
needed to be back on the woodwork.
I've
God,
lost my
you're so
pepper. I would have
smooth.
put
It's
pepper on it.
amazing, really. I tell you what, as you're so
Right,
lovely,
so mine's all divided up. Mine's going to go
you
in.
can taste one slice of salami.
And we've
So tell me about the salami, because, okay, let's have a debate, because we're always so nice to each other. I don't ever recommend salami because you never know what goes into it. So what should we be buying if we want to make sure it's a good
buy
salami?
a whole one like this.
Okay.
And this is actually a saucisson sec. It's a French one, not an Italian one. Oops.
Oops.
Um,
Let me taste it.
but better to buy one from a small producer and one that comes like this rather than the ones that are pre-sliced and wrapped in loads of plastic, etc. I'd prefer to have one like this.
That tastes really good.
Thank you. And you should see the quantity of fat in it as well that keeps it from drying out in the oven.
Okay.
Nice white fat like this, so it's going to be satiating, it's going to fill you up, you're going to feel good.
One of the things that really bothers me, people say, "Oh, that's fatty." If you don't put fat in this, it won't taste nothing. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
It's not that they're cheating on making the salami. It's just the fact that he needs that to compensate the whole. Look. Sorry, but
Tastes great. Looks
yeah, but
good.
you know what I mean. So when people they say to you, "I don't have that because it looks too fatty," I think, yeah, the look is not the taste. Maybe you know, think about
But
it.
this is all part of the U-turn, isn't it? You know, I grew up back to this thing that I feel robbed of my health because I was told fat was the enemy, and you know, and reality is that's what we've always eaten, and as long as it's natural, healthy fats and not you know chemical enhanced fat,
Actually,
hydrogenated,
Exactly, yeah.
it's good for you.
Yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you
it's
mean.
good for you.
Actually, when I was in Italy as a boy, we used to eat a lot of fat. Yeah, yeah, really. And in the winter, especially, Katie, because you know we used to kill our own pigs, all the fat and was all stored properly. Then we used to use cook. I was never sick actually.
Yep.
I was never sick.
Yep.
I don't remember being in bed for days and don't remember anything.
Because when you were eating whole animals, especially when you were eating like the livers, and you're eating the hearts, and you're eating the whole animal, then you've got everything you need for life. You've got full nutrition throughout there. And I think most illnesses today are a lack of good nutrition.
Yes. Yeah.
I think introduction of sugar and the TV commercials say a finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat. A treat? It was more like to kill your kids. It's just enough. Give another finger of fudge, and they kill them all.
Yep.
And it's a shame actually. It's a shame. I
think it was a 2-generation food experiment that went wrong. And the good thing today, and we're seeing this, in Hong Kong with the protesters, is kids today, they've got a voice. Whether they're using, the internet to communicate, but they've got a voice. And I think the tide will turn, and with programs like this, and the way you're cooking and make. I think what is really important about you two is, because there's lots of people now saying what I say, which is go low carb and so on and so forth. But what you've done is, I think the recipes in my book are pretty good, but these just taste amazing. They look amazing. And therefore, now you don't feel like, I always say when a smoker wants to stop smoking and they say, I'm giving up. I say, you're not giving up. If you say you're giving up, you'll never give up. You're escaping. You're escaping smoking. And it's the same with food. If you think you are giving up carbohydrates, you'll always go back to them, as in the white carbohydrates. Whereas this is an escape from carbohydrates because it tastes so good. Everything is
then you don't miss the carbs.
No, you don't.
You don't miss it.
And
And I think that's really important, that when Giancarlo, because of the gluten intolerance, we kind of inadvertently went low carb, but actually his celiac disease kind of saved his life in a way from the diabetes. So we were so grateful for that. We never thought we'd be grateful that he was gluten intolerant, but actually we are. But instead of saying, you can't have this pasta, Giancarlo, you can't have this, you can't have that, I just would put something else there. And I remember experimenting with cabbage one day, thinking, I wonder how I can turn this white cabbage into something that looks like beautiful tagliatelle. So I cut it into ribbons and softly just steamed it with a little bit of water and some butter and pepper and salt until it went really soft. So about 10 minutes. Didn't want it crunchy because pasta's not crunchy. I wanted it soft. And then I drained
al
it.
dente, soft al dente.
Not mushy, just al dente, like pasta.
It looked translucent, looked really brilliant.
And I drained it and put it into a pasta bowl. I put some ragu on the top of it, mixed it in a little bit. I put parmesan on top, a little bit of black pepper and a couple of basil leaves. And I said, oh, Giancarlo, try this. And he went, well, I can't eat it, it's pasta. I went, just try it. And he tried it and he thought, it's not pasta, what is this? And then he went, it's cabbage, you're giving me cabbage, and it's lovely, and he loved it. And that's how we came to do the
then again,
cabbage.
you see, what really needs to be bear in mind is the fact that you have to be open-minded yourself. You need to embrace things.
Yes.
Nothing is set in stone, nothing. Our life changes every day. And people should get that, because it's so important that you have an elasticity of thinking.
Yeah.
You really must. Is your own very survival.
A lot of
my good
people are
friend
very
Glenn, his mom
obstinate.
lived to 104, and I said, if you had to say one trait, how did you get to 104? He said, no matter what happened to my mom, when my dad died, and I think her ability to embrace change is why she lived so long.
Gosh, yes.
And that's your ability to, I think, embrace change while you're still here today cooking great food for us.
Yeah.
No, it's really massive. It's really, really massive,
Wow,
honestly.
that
I
looks
mean,
fabulous.
I think it needs a bit longer.
I think I want to eat it. Not really. It's cooked, but there's a bit of water with the mozzarella. But this is.
So the things you're saying is keep the mozzarella on the side for as long as you can before cooking.
I should have put it in a sieve, really.
Yeah,
you could put this onto the board.
And I noticed you've cooked that at about 220, whereas a pizza oven's at, I think, about 400.
400,
Why would you not put that completely
Oh,
up
well,
to
I
max?
could have done. I could have gone up to max, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So try and
so it's
create
really
the
hot.
environment like a big
Yes.
pizza oven.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
That does look fabulous.
Where's the
Where's the scrape? I've got a
scraper.
I bought
Anyway,
one.
so the point that I'm making,
Giancarlo,
is
this
the
one.
point that I'm making is this: is that really you can have a pizza. No, seriously, smell.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Seriously.
beautiful.
Really nice. And
both of you cook the same way with the basil afterwards rather than putting it in the
I
oven?
don't like the basil. I like the basil afterwards because you see, now we're going to cut a piece in a second, and then we'll have a little trial, and then you see. So now I cut the pizza in quarters.
And is this, I mean, everybody's learnt lots from watching the programme, I hope, but is this something you do at your school as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do it at home as well. It's true. You know, because remember, you know, when you crave for something, and if you invented something to begin with, you know, you do what you preached.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you know, at home we eat the book.
Yeah.
I wouldn't keep the way I am if I didn't. Not eating the book, but you know.
I was looking for the bite marks on the cover then.
Yeah. I thought, you know,
We keep talking about
it's the way you looked at me and said,
available today.
I know I'm Italian, but the way you looked at me and said, really? Italians eat books? That's
you
why
can't
they're
eat the
very
book.
good.
This is full. All books are carbohydrates. That's what they are. That's what paper is. It's the ultimate carbohydrate. This book is available at Primal Living, and we've got on offer at the moment at £17. And I tell you, not only will it help change your life and help you avoid all those carbohydrates, everything in here tastes amazing. It really, really tastes amazing. And if you're quite quick, I'm not going to promise you this, but we've had 50 of them signed for you today while they're here. So there's a chance that yours might also have an autograph in there.
Wow.
Defaced by the chef and the imagination of the Caldesis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They look
No, my pizza is a real pizza. It's a square pizza.
Where do I go first?
I mean, really, excuse me. I mean, do you call that pizza? I think.
Should I put it on my own board? Oh no, I won't. Yes.
No, you can
it's
join
definitely a
forces.
pizza. You can have square pizzas.
You can
I
have
call those
square
posh
pizza.
pizzas.
Yeah, in Rome they have pizza al taglio by the slice. So mine's a Roman one, and his is one from Naples.
See, he's gone straight in. Look,
I know.
he's not even giving it to guests. I'm not going to come to your house for a party.
I don't care.
You're going to have all of the anchovies and not leave me any, aren't you?
I've got some anchovies for you, Steve.
Oh, good. Is it good?
It's very hot by the looks of it.
It sounds hot.
This is seriously
Oh, wow.
delicious. I mean, really delicious. When I say delicious,
I tell you what, I
mean-
could feed that
I mean delicious.
to friends and you would not know that that wasn't
No.
a bread base. That is,
And it's
Yeah.
also gluten-free,
Incredible.
so, you know, good on that front as well.
You should try the one with the salami. Oh,
this is fabulous. Honestly, my kids would not know that that was not
No.
made of bread. Wow.
I'm touching
Sorry about that
it.
at home.
We've gone a
We're
bit
gonna
quiet.
We're going to go really quiet here. That tastes absolutely fabulous. Good for nutrition,
seriously, I mean,
full of goodness. The courgettes, the almond in there, everything there, super healthy.
Full of fibre. Good fibre.
Lots and lots of fibre. So,
Oh, I do
if
like
you want to
anchovy.
make this at home, you could rewind, well, not tapes anymore, is it? You could go back to the beginning of the programme. But what I 100% recommend and is the book, because everything here is about, it says at the bottom, a life-changing diet to prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes. And before you, if you're sitting there and you have diabetes already, there is a very strong chance that you can reverse it. If you go to diabetes.co.uk, you will find actually thousands of people that have reversed their diabetes, and it is in the main about cutting down the processed carbohydrates that's going to help you change your life. And what I love about Giancarlo is that if you could do it, anybody could do it. You were a master award-winning chef. You had some honours, didn't you, in Italy?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a cavaliere.
Which is the equivalent of our MBE
Yeah.
for representing Italian food abroad.
That's absolutely fantastic. And yet, and everything you said, you used to eat pasta twice a day, then your eyesight became blurry, then you had problems doing your shoelaces, and you were 17 stone in weight. And look at you now. A fine example.
I'm very sexy.
Fine example of
Thank
what an
you.
Italian restaurant owner should look like. Katie, I need to try yours. I need to try yours because his was good.
Oh, now there was the biased bit comes along.
Yes,
No,
I
no,
say
no,
the crust.
No, it's fine.
I'm
Okay,
totally
you can be like
unbiased.
that. No, I know you. Okay.
And by the way, last time I did a cooking demonstration, Katie was the chef after me, and it was. I'm sorry I left the kitchen in such a mess.
And you nicked my wooden boards as well.
Right. Oh, it's not a compliment.
Then she said you weren't very nice
I don't believe that.
to my wife. You weren't very nice to my wife.
That's very nice of you.
But we had lovely pizza, so we're okay.
That is fabulous. I'm not going to say which is my favourite because that would be very unprofessional. They are both wonderful pizzas. So I'd like to wrap up by saying if somebody's overweight and they haven't yet started to change their life around, maybe they have diabetes already, maybe they don't, but they're overweight and want to lose weight, what's the first few steps that you think, or what's the first few steps that turn your life around? What recommendations would you have? Something simple, some basic steps.
We wrote the book with Dr. David Unwin, and he always says, do one thing first, like give up bread, and then maybe move on to giving up pasta, give up things with flour in, give up sugar. So start with one thing and give it up for a week, and then having succeeded there, give up something else. And I would add to that as well as giving something up, you want to put something back in its place. So I didn't say to Giancarlo, you can't have pasta. I gave him a different kind of pasta. I think one of the things I'm very proud about the book is that we wrote it with David Unwin and with Jenny Phillips and Jen Unwin as well. And the science at the front of the book is very clearly explained. And I was really adamant that it should be explained to the everyday person. And if I could understand it, then anyone else can. So I would say get your head around the science and start by giving one thing up and put something much more interesting in its place.
That's brilliant. And in fact, we're massive fans of Dr. David and Dr. Jen Unwin. So the fact that they're involved with this book, thank you for writing. In fact, I've just realised it says it on the front. This is the perfect first step to losing weight. This is your first perfect step if you've got diabetes to potentially even reversing it. And it's certainly a great step to avoiding diabetes. I'm going to make sure, in fact, I'm going to go around and help my dad cook some of these recipes now. I've done lots of them myself. They are absolutely brilliant.
Good.
Thank you for your time today in the studio. I know we've got a podcast coming up with you as well, so I look forward to doing that. And I believe we've got in another program a dessert recipe.
Absolutely, yes, because you have to have dessert. You
do.
have to have a treat.
But we need to have a low-carb dessert.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and it is.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute
Thank you very much.
pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very, very much
Thank
indeed.
you. Thank you very much.